The first time I left Suffolk, I was 16. Jumped on a train and went and joined the army. Seemed a good option at the time and absolutely loved it. I got best recruit. I still hold the record for having an HGV at the age of 16 and was promoted within 10 months. I applied for a job as a cleaner in 1988. I had 2 children, so I had to go out to work when they were in bed. So I applied for a cleaner in 1988, and that's the only job I've ever applied for. And I've been here 34 years December. So when I took my first management role, it actually happened to be, I was the first female transport manager of Adnams, and it happened to be 28 men. So actually, I had to learn that what was important to them probably was less important to me. And so I taught myself the rules of football and watched it so that I could go in on a Monday morning and say, oh, I didn't think that ball was offside, did you? And then they were like, whoa, hang on, a woman who know a little bit of sport. So I learned what was important to them to enable me to speak to them and gain their trust and respect. And I'm pleased to say now that there's as many females in logistics now as there probably is males. Pre-2000, generally, people didn't put a lot of thought into how their goods got delivered, what they ate, what they drank. So I think the world changed from that environmental perspective. We had outgrown our distribution centre in Southwold. We also had thought about our community because there was in excess of 100 truck movements every day, which is not great for the structure of the town, but also quite annoying for people. And our distribution centre was surrounded by little houses. It's not about following another business, it's about taking a brave decision to do something different. And if you fail, fail fast, but take the brave decision. So, taking all those things into account, we decided we would build 1.5 miles out of Southwold, but that we wanted it to be a leader in its field. So we looked at what I'm going to call a green list of things. And green is not a reason to do business, but if it makes business sense, why wouldn't you? So we did a green sedum roof. We made lime hemp blocks on sites. They didn't go in a kiln, there was no damage to the environment at all. We invested £6 million in not just doing the right thing, but to things the right way. That was a really big investment decision, probably the biggest for some years. If you think back to then and you look, the profits per year were probably 3 million, and I was going asking for 6 million to build a building that would also create for the organisation a lot of depreciation that currently we didn't have. Part of the return on the investment was the savings in energy. So in Southwold we had, I'll just call it a big walk-in fridge, because soon we went to store, we just had cold air blowers everywhere and refrigeration, because you should keep cask ale at 16, 17 degrees to have optimum taste. In Raydon, because we built it 7 metres under the ground, we used hemp blocks and we used a sedum roof. Actually, we didn't need to have what we term as a cold store or a big walk-in fridge. And at that time, when I presented that to the board, it was going to save us about £100,000 a year in energy, but it was the right decision. No one could have predicted 16 years ago the cost of energy now. And when I look now, I just think it's probably the best decision we ever made. When you're going onto a board or you're wanting to go on a board, the first thing I'd say is when you're taking decisions, you must take everything into account. So it's not just making the right decision, and it's doing things the right way. If you're a PLC like us, you've got loyal shareholders, and particularly through COVID, both shareholders and staff were very patient. But at some stage, you have to balance that patience with thinking further ahead to give them back what they've lost. When you go from management to a board, that it definitely is a transition, because what you actually have to do is lead, not manage. You'll become an umbrella rather than one of the pins that's doing that stuff. And the other thing, which is huge, is you must not let anybody's ego be bigger than a business. That is so important. It's not about how you personally feel or anything like that. It's what's best for everybody in the company. It's very easy when you've worked for years in the same organisation to get overlooked. So don't be afraid to tell people exactly what you want to be and what your aspirations are. People will tell you there's glass ceilings, but glass ceilings are there to be smashed.